Today is the third game between India and USA that's going to happen at Nassau County International in New York. Now, this is the current situation before I come to the India versus USA encounter. There were two games that happened. Australia versus Namibia, and Australia absolutely decimated Namibia by bowling them out for 72. In 5.4 overs, Australia managed to chase down a total of 73. And Adam Zampa's 4 wickets ensured that Australia would join South Africa as the other team to enter the Super 8 stage. A clinical, thorough, disciplined, intimidating performance from Australia has ensured that they are the second team to join in the Super 8s. Now, today's encounter is very, very important for Pakistan. Because if India beat the USA with Pakistan already having beaten Canada, it now is very important for them to ensure that USA loses to Ireland, Pakistan absolutely thrash Ireland, and even then they can still become the second team. USA can still get eliminated if they lose both their games against India and Ireland. So Group A is also becoming very, very tricky. But as far as Sri Lanka's prospects in the T20 World Cup are concerned, they now in their the third game has ended. The game between Nepal and Sri Lanka has been abandoned in Florida because of a wet outfield and because of incessant rain. Now, Sri Lanka have got only 1 point. Now, Sri Lanka will have to hope Bangladesh beat Nepal. And Nepal must beat Bangladesh and Netherlands must beat Bangladesh. Then and only then they have a chance. But if they don't do it, then Sri Lanka are almost all but out of the T20 World Cup. Those two losses that they had against South Africa and by 4 runs against Bangladesh has meant that Sri Lanka are all but eliminated from the T20 World Cup. And because of that, D2 is a tough battle between Netherlands and Bangladesh. If Bangladesh beat the Netherlands, if they beat Nepal, they will become D2. So essentially, looking at India's chances, it is at this point in time, it could be Afghanistan, Australia, Bangladesh if things remain in this matter. So Australia have joined South Africa as the other team to enter the Super 8 stage. Now India will join them if they beat USA today, and the weather for the USA game is partly cloudy. Not much chances of rain are expected today, and you are going to see an uninterrupted match. The only problem for India will come in Florida because the weather for the entire week in Florida is pretty bad. Now, India will take on Canada in their last league game there. So that is why this kind of a situation is very, very detrimental for Pakistan. If that game is abandoned and if they win against both Ireland and against then you are going to see a huge, huge shift. So at this point in time, today's winner will reach the Super 8 stage. USA and India are looking at the teams as most likely to enter the group stage. Now, USA, Pakistan, that will be the key match because if USA manage to lose to Ireland, how will the points table then shape up? NRR will then come into play. That is the current situation when you're looking at it. So the T20 World Cup is really, really hotting up. Australia looking good. South Africa are scraping through. India are also looking good, but it is all a question of that one day whether they can shape it up in that sense. So the only teams now who are looking very vulnerable and are almost out of contention are New Zealand, England, Sri Lanka, and most likely Pakistan, but we don't know how Pakistan will shape up in that sense. So very important week coming up in this sense. After India's game ends today, the rest of the games, especially on the 13th, which is coming up, New Zealand, West Indies, that is going to be extremely important for Group C. If New Zealand lose, they're out. They will be eliminated before the semi-final for the very first time since 2014. So that is the current situation. Now moving on to the world of other sports. In the India versus Qatar World Cup qualifying encounter, a massive controversy has ensued. The standard of refereeing, when the ball seemed to be out of play, they decided to play on, and because of this, India managed to lose 2-1. Even at the last few moments, there was a yellow card shown to Rahul Beke that also did not elicit that much of controversy. So that is why India's FIFA World Cup chances are all but over. Their chances of qualifying for the AFC Asia Cup directly are also over now. This is a massive controversy that has erupted in the India versus Qatar encounter. They were totally robbed. And you have to understand one thing. I mean, the standard of refereeing that happened yesterday was absolutely woeful. And because of that, if there have been a lot of questions about the standard of refereeing, just like how umpiring is taking center stage in cricket, refereeing in these kind of matches in the AFC qualifying as well as in the FIFA World Cup, that has also come into question. Asia in particular, refereeing just does not seem to work on them. That is why there are plenty of controversies regarding the India versus Qatar match, which we will do a detailed video on. But it was heartbreak for India's football team, and that is why it is not a good situation. So now if you look at further football news, the groups have been announced for Euro, which is beginning on 15th. The Euro football tournament along with Copa America are beginning on 15th June, and Group B is the group of death. Spain, Italy, Croatia, and Albania. These are the 4 teams in Group B. And Group B this time in the Euro system is the group of death. Because if you look at the previous encounter, there was Germany. In the previous Euro, if I may remember correctly, it was France, Germany, Portugal, and Hungary. These were the 4 teams who were there in that group. So in this sense, we are looking at the current situation, and that is it. Let it be. Let it be. That's the group of death that is there at this point in time. And as I mentioned, India's World Cup hopes end in heartbreak. This is the current headline, and there will be a lot of debate on this particular situation. So the groups have been announced in Euro. India in the FIFA World Cup qualifying as well as AFC Asia Cup direct qualification. It's over for them. And football, after Sunil Chhetri's retirement, are really facing a very stark, if you may look at it, bleak future at this point in time. Now, as far as the other Olympic situations, PT Usha has given an interview stating that yes, we hope that India can manage a double-digit medal haul. So let's take a couple of comments. Australia winning this World Cup again. If we need to win, we need to play better than Australia in finals. Arush Dhar, well, see, they are going to face off in the Super 8s, Arush. So let's see how that happens. Freaking awesome. Why Pakistan and India plays together in the same group time and time again in World Cups? There are some rare, interesting phases like Pakistan versus West Indies, New Zealand versus West Indies. That one New Zealand-West Indies game was tied too. Well, freaking awesome. New Zealand-West Indies are playing on 13th, which is at Tarouba, 6 a.m. You're going to see New Zealand versus West Indies play at that particular point in time. So let's see how that happens. But yeah, why Pakistan and India are placed in the same group time and time again? Commercial marketing benefits. It isn't a rivalry. Let us make it very clear. And come on, yesterday, I mean, the game that happened on the 9th, it was a thriller, but please, it was an artificial build-up to a thriller. So India was robbed of qualifying. Mayank, what do you think about USA leg of the World Cup? Box office or average? Also, could we see any changes in India's 11 tonight? Maybe, Mayank. But box office or average, what do you think about the USA leg? Mayank Madan, I think it's been a disaster. Let's be very honest about it. Forget the India-Pakistan game, which was very attritional, and it made for some painful viewing. Yes, India got on the right side of the results, but if India were not on the right side of the results, we would have all known the fickleness of the reaction that was there. USA leg was average and no changes today, Mayank Arushar is saying. India was robbed of qualifying. Absolutely. Freaking awesome. All top sides were beaten by Bangladesh in T20s except South Africa. South Africa lost only to Netherlands. Not sure why SA have hiccups against Dutch. SA are very convenient with all other minnows. I don't know. It seems to be that Netherlands put on their best show on that day against South Africa. So let's see how it goes. Raj Das Gupta. Netherlands will qualify. They are a good team than Bangladesh. Especially Bangladesh batting doesn't deserve a Super 8, though they have a good bowling. See, that game is going to be very, very important. Netherlands versus Bangladesh. Just like USA versus Ireland is going to be important in that sense. So Mayank Mada, one more batter and Kuldeep is a must in Indian team, man. I mean, we don't know at this point in time, Mayank. I think the team is settled and I think they are okay with this kind of situation. Daniel M. New York pitch is poor advertisement of cricket to Americans. Absolutely, it is. And for people who are like making fun of the American media as to, oh, they don't know cricket, they are treating it like it is baseball. I'd like to ask all the Indian fans, if you are tasked with writing something about chess, will you write it well? NG3, Bishop F5, Rook H8. How will you interpret that? You will just be clueless about it. Similarly, let us be very honest, brutal about it. Cricket isn't a global sport. It's played by 10 nations. Sure, 104 nations have gotten T20I status. But what is the status of that? What is the quality of that? You all know it. So that is why before making fun of any reporter or journalist who's wanting to cover a very alien sport, always understand this. Apne gireban mein jaake dekho. That is the message that I want to give to all these so-called Indian super fans who are making fun of journalists who can't cover cricket. Cricket isn't a global sport. Let us be very honest about it. In fact, it is 10 nations playing against each other, and only one nation is the most successful in the world. We all know how it is. So that is why India is not even a superpower when you have to look at results in cricket out of 10 nations. It's a financial power, but for results, it is hardly a superpower. Let us be very open about that. So that is the situation looking at. So India versus USA, followed by tomorrow in the morning, it is West Indies versus New Zealand at Tarouba. Winner of that stays alive. But whoever loses that, if New Zealand lose that game, they are out. So that is the current situation. Thank you so much, folks, for joining us for this video. Daniel M is saying, if USA make the Super 8, it will be their 83 moment. Cricket can take off in America like soccer did after American Football World Cup. No, Daniel M, no. Cricket will take a lot of time. I mean, you are looking at the situation which is dominated by baseball, NBA, and all these things. IPL itself, it's taken them 15 years to kind of make some inroads. Cricket is not restricted to New York and Florida alone. Look at the entire spectrum. US is a vast country. So that's about it, folks. Join us for India versus USA today in New York. It promises to be a cracker. Bye-bye.